Hey, Thembi, welcome to the show.
And thanks, Rachel, for having me. So excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. So why don't we start off? You just tell us a little about yourself.
Well, Thembi, as Rachel just said, I'm originally from Zimbabwe, and I lived in Canada for 18 years before I took the leap to go back to Zimbabwe about a year ago. But that's who I am. I help women right now. I teach women in Africa how to become virtual assistants, and I also am well known as a real estate investor.
Oh, very cool. So you were in Canada for 18 years. What kind of inspired you to go back to Zimbabwe?
Well, Rachel, I have the reason why I left Zimbabwe in the first place, I came as a refugee to Canada, but also I had been in an abusive relationship. And so what that meant is I was very uncomfortable leaving Zimbabwe because I actually tried to leave that marriage, and my mom said I couldn't leave because I didn't have money. No one will take care of me. And I told myself, if this is why people are staying in marriages, abusive relationships, because no one could take care of them, I'm going to change that. So I always had this dream to go and help women so that I could empower women in Africa so they are never stuck in abusive relationships. And it's deeper than that. It's not just being in a relationship. It's also just being in so much abject poverty. You're forced to do things you're not comfortable doing. And so I always had this goal that I am going to change that, and I'm going to do that. And that's really why I went to Zimbabwe.
Amazing. So how old were you when you were married and you left?
22.
Okay, because that was like 19 years ago?
18 years ago,
18
yes.
Years ago? Okay,
Yeah.
you still look 22. This is not fair.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Amazing. So I love your mission. So you went back to Zimbabwe to empower women. Tell us about, you started a business. What's this business? What are you doing exactly?
Okay. So basically, when I went back to Zimbabwe, this is actually what really triggered the move. I did a trip there, and I read a story in the local paper of a woman who had killed herself and two toddlers. She had two children. She had killed herself because she was just tired of trading her body for money. And that was just so heartbreaking for me. And I said, I have to change this. And so when I went back, I decided I was going to help women to be empowered, but I had no idea what I was going to do. Like, I was like, I don't even know what I'm going to teach them. I thought I'll just teach them how to make money online, because that's what I knew, like how to create money income online. And when I got there, the situation was very dire. Like, these people were not ready there. They just needed money to put food on the table the next day. So there was no way they were going to start creating some income online. They needed to make money right away. So I had trained my VAs before that. I have personally trained my VAs, and I was like, you know what? Why don't I do the same training I did with them, and they can find jobs online themselves? Yeah. And so I trained them to become virtual assistants. But what happened when I said, okay, go look for jobs out there, they still, because most of them haven't been through situations where they are not ready emotionally to go out there and be exposed to somebody else. They still need that cushioning. They felt like, oh, we still need you, sort of. And out of that, I was forced to start an agency, a virtual assistant agency, because I was like, I can't just let them fly. They're not ready to fly. Yeah. I kind of need to hug them together and just walk them through. And that's really how it worked out. So now I have an agency where we basically help place these women to do jobs, virtual assistant jobs. It's mainly tech stuff.
So how many women do you have working for the agency in Zimbabwe, and how many clients do they have?
We have trained 84 women so far.
Wow.
This year alone. Yeah.
That's 84. Amazing.
I know. I look back, I'm like, oh my goodness, 84. It didn't seem like possible, but it's possible. Yeah. And so out of this 84, we can pull out of that pool of 84 people. But currently we have about 21 women with many clients. Like, one person can work for like 3 or 4 clients, depending on the type of work the clients give us. But yeah.
Okay, so I love your story because you went and you said, I'm going to help empower women, and you had no idea what the heck that was going to look like. And so how did you kind of just figure it out?
I wish I could say I figured it out. I'm still trying to figure it out.
We all are. We're all just like figuring it out together, aren't we?
It was the hardest thing I have ever done. So what I did is I collected laptops from Canada and from friends and from everybody. And I basically took the first shipment of laptops and I went with them. And so I paid for the shipment and everything. And one thing I didn't realize, actually, it's funny how we live North America and think, oh, we're going to Africa to empower women. But it actually becomes turn around. I'm the one who ended up being empowered. Because when I got there, I learned so much from these women. Their resilience,
Yeah.
their hard work, their ethic, everything. I was like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
I had no idea. So it was a learning curve for me as well. And on top of that, not only did I I started learning so much about myself, about how impatient I was and how entitled I was.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Like, okay. So, you know that I moved to Kenya when I was 20.
Mm-hmm.
And when you grow up in like North America and you're used to, gosh, just like the basics of life, like a warm shower or paved roads or like seatbelts and taxis or like
Yeah.
air conditioning, you know, just like those basics, and you end up there, it's humbling to see how the rest of the world, but the majority of the world actually lives.
It is. It is. And actually, I remember coming back to Canada and thinking to myself, oh my God, I missed a shower. Because for the 4 months I was there, I was bathing from a bucket. You know how
Okay.
it's like taking water from a bucket.
Totally. So I actually have to tell you the story. So I somehow ended up making friends with a guy that owned a hotel that was like a mile away from where I was living in Kenya.
So you could have a shower.
Exactly. So I would walk a mile each way, probably only 3 times a week, if I'm being real, to take a hot shower. And then I was just stinky the other days. But I'm totally cool with that because, oh my gosh, it was either like freezing cold shower or bucket bath. I got
Yeah.
used to the bucket baths eventually. But when I was new in Africa, I was like, hot shower.
Yeah, a hot shower is a luxury. And that's what happened. And so there was this transition of like, oh my God, my life just changed. Like I just left Canada and this is what's going to be my life. And it was so shocking for me. And a lot of support from friends, a lot of support from people like you, Rachel. When I raised recently, I just raised some more money so that I could take more laptops. But it's been that situation where it's been very humbling for me. It's been very humbling, and it made me realize, as I said, how entitled we are, but also how we can get over our excuses. Because if you're listening right now, you probably have a bunch of excuses. You're probably telling yourself, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. Let me share something with you, Rachel. These women pay to take the course because I want them to be invested. An average salary in Zimbabwe is about $50 right now for a teacher. It's about $50 to $60. It's gone down so
So
bad.
is that a month?
A month.
Okay,
Yes.
$50
That is a month. $50 a month. The training is $100.
So you have
these
them pay
women,
$100 to go through this training to become virtual
yes,
assistants? Okay.
yes. We do subsidize for some people, like with the funds we raise. We subsidize for some people who we realize that they really can't afford it. They actually don't even pay. But for most people, we want them to have some investment or something in it, and so they pay $100, and that's double your salary a month. And you know why? It's because they are not entitled. They are so invested in changing their future and in changing their life. And yet in North America, you see people stuck in their situations, stuck in their excuses. Oh, I can't do this because I don't have makeup. Or I can't do this because I don't have a good camera. Or I can't invest in this program because I want to buy something. I want to take a trip this month. Like, seriously, get over it. Somebody is investing double their salary a month so that they can change their life. What are you willing to invest in your life to change your life? Because I know your story. Like, you started with nothing and you invested everything you had to change your life. And look at where you are, the return on investment. And so that's what I want to talk to people about, because I feel like there's so much entitled, and I am qualified to say people are entitled because I'm not from here. But
no, you're qualified to say whatever the heck you want. It's all good.
But seriously, we just need to get over it. Just
get over your excuses. And I just find when I'm in sub-Saharan Africa, people just want to work. Like, they just want a job. So we were in Senegal and we were stuck in traffic. Like, Dakar, the traffic is insane. And there's a kid, he's probably like 16 years old, and he just comes and starts cleaning our like windshield in our windows. And my husband's like, no, we're okay. And the kid was just like, no, like, I'm cleaning this for you. And me and my husband were like, he's working so hard. He just wants to make money. Like, let's just pay him. Like, he did such a good job. I wish we got that kid's phone number, because I'm like, whatever business we start over there, we're hiring like people like that. Like, he just
Yeah.
wants a job.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like some of the women who we train, they were just standing on the street. They'll be looking for jobs, basically looking for jobs, standing on the street looking for jobs because they're so desperate.
Yep.
Yeah. And people just want to work. So really, there's definitely a different culture altogether.
For sure. Okay, so you have the women that pay the $100 to go through the training, and then they need laptops. So you said you're sourcing laptops from North America. Is that what you said?
Yes. So I collect laptops. People just send me some laptops and I advertise. I collect laptops and then I ship. I make a shipment and I ship them to Zimbabwe so that they can use, because they cannot afford laptops. I mean,
Right.
there's no way they can afford laptops. So I definitely collect laptops. So people who have extra laptops usually just call me or just reach out to me and they just send us some laptops.
So there's probably people listening that say, I probably have an old laptop or two around the house that I'm not using. Where can we send these to, or how can we reach you?
Absolutely. So the best way would be to send us an email. I think that would be the best way for laptops is support@thembibheka.com. So support@myname.com.
Okay, we'll put that in the show notes so people can really reach that, because I know we have a few that we're going to send to you. So just
Yes,
we'll email you and then we'll get that taken care of.
absolutely.
So is it you that's doing all the training on the ground in Zimbabwe, or have you hired people and like trained people to do this?
I have hired people. So at first, when I started the first training I did it myself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, it's so hard to train people every day.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. And this is the thing which really made it difficult, is because when you're training women in Zimbabwe, you're not just dealing about the skills, you're also dealing with the mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's everywhere, actually, not just in Zimbabwe, globally, it's everywhere. You're dealing with the mindset that, yes, you can do this. Yes, you're able to do this. Yes, you have the capability to do this. There's nothing that can stop you. And so the first month, the first training I did it all by myself. And I was mentally and physically exhausted. So
Can I ask you, so when these women come in, have they ever even worked on a computer before in their life?
Some of them have never.
So imagine just starting from like absolute ground zero, like, and they have to learn how to set all this up. Like because I worked with African refugees in Chicago, and I remember some of them, like they grew up in like the farm in the middle of nowhere, and I was just trying to teach these older men like how to actually write the alphabet, like how to write an A, how to write a B. And if you've never done that before, like you don't understand how hard it is to learn those skills at an older age.
Yeah.
So like to be the teacher of that, that's humbling for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. So yes, we had to start from scratch. This is how you turn on the computer.
Mm-hmm.
Press this button, and then you move on stage by stage. Mm-hmm. And then by the end, these ladies are doing landing pages and lead magnets. You're like, what?
That's amazing. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. When I was in Kenya, I was typing a lot. And I remember my friends that were Kenyan, they said that I had magical fingers because they just like watched me type without looking at the computer. And they're like, how is she doing?
It's true. So you go. So we had to go through that. So we had to go through all that training. Some of them knew computers. Some of them were skilled. I mean, some of them are they're very, full disclosure, most of these women are very educated, highly educated. So they just don't have jobs, and they just don't have the opportunities we have this side. So some of them knew computers and they knew everything, but there was a lot of things they didn't know. They just didn't get this whole online thing. Like I remember trying to explain, you can work online. She's like, how can you work online? You have to. They just didn't get it.
Totally.
And so it was a whole explanation period of that. So the first training, just to go back to your question, I did it. And then as we moved on, the people I trained in the first training, one of the people took over. And actually one of my assistants who was already working with me took over. They said, we're going to do the second training. I'm like, are you sure? They're like, yeah, we'll do it. So what they did is they organized basically the people, and I used to Skype with them because I was in Canada at that time. I used to Skype with them through Skype to do the training. And then This was an everyday thing. And then the third training, they actually did the training themselves. And I would Skype maybe once a week just to kind of for emotional support and for the mindset stuff. But they were doing the training themselves. So we are on path that they can actually train other people without me being there.
You're developing leaders, which
Yeah.
is so cool. Like that is so, so cool to see.
I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So how are you getting the clients for them? So you have like the agency model. How are you finding all the clients for them?
So I just did a mini launch recently to try to get clients, but most of our clients have really come from referrals, from communities like you. When I go on podcasts, people who are looking for virtual assistants and who are looking to empower, hire with purpose, those are people who really seem to be attracted to us. Those people who are aligned with their purpose and also they want to hire with purpose.
Yeah.
And so when I speak on podcasts, when I speak on events, I'll be speaking on Inbound in a week from now, and I'll be marketing and sharing about these ladies. That's really how I've been getting the clients.
Amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
So cool. What do you see as some main challenges that your students have as they are learning? Do you see any like big ones that are standing out to you, or what are some challenges that you've had as you've been growing this?
Yeah, starting a business is definitely it has its own challenges, especially this kind of business. I didn't foresee most of the challenges which I see right now, but the big one has been communication. Communication in the sense that trying to communicate through your message. So we have come up with a system now. It's way easier. We just use Loom. Before, when we were communicating directly to say this in instructions, and I mean, these ladies understand English, but because of the cultural difference, sometimes there was that communication breakdown. And so what we have done, we've hired somebody from North America who oversees everything and who communicates with them via Loom. So it's making it easier for us. It's no longer like you have to talk directly to the VAs. Now you talk to someone who's based in North America, who's American, who understands the culture and everything. So there's always a cultural difference. That was a big challenge when we started, but we've managed to polish that one down out. I think that's really the one which I can say has been big.
Can you explain what Loom is for someone who doesn't know?
Oh, okay. So Loom is it's a video and audio app. Basically, it's more like Zoom, which we're talking on right now, where you can do something. So, for example, if I want you to write an email and I have a way I want you to write that email, I can basically talk and show you on my computer and type on my computer how I want you to write that email. And the screen is recorded and my voice is recorded. So you just send it to the client. And the good thing is most of these tasks are repetitive. So we don't expect each client, like for example, if somebody has a way they want their landing page to be done, we basically just use the Loom video from another client because it's usually just the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Loom is definitely, it's such a great asset to be able to share with your team and to be able, so like me and my team do this back and forth all the time, but then what you said, you can use it over and over again. So you're not having to explain the same tasks over and over again. So that's saving you a ton of time.
Yeah. And it's actually good for an entrepreneur, for a business person, because you need standard operating procedures in your company. Yep. So you could use that as your standard operating procedures and it just goes onto your SOP files and you don't have to repeat it for the next however many years.
For sure. How often do you go back and forth to Zimbabwe and then North America?
Ideally, I would like to be in Zimbabwe at least 6 months and in North America 6 months for now. But unfortunately, because I'm speaking a lot in North America, I'm finding myself spending more time here.
Yeah.
I'm starting this business and doing a lot of speaking engagements and going back to Zimbabwe. But I will be going September and I'll be there for a couple more months and coming back to speak for another engagement in November.
Amazing. Because I know we were actually debating, do we live in Senegal? Do we live in America? Do we live in France? And the big thing that was so hard was how often I'd have to be coming back to America for extended periods of time.
Yeah, you do end up finding yourself. And also remember, if you're like speaking at an event, you want to, because of the time difference, like the jet lag, you want to kind of come and prepare and mentally prepare and all that stuff. So you end up finding yourself spending more time here.
For sure. And you have kids, yeah?
Yes, I have two. One of them is a teenager. She's in university already, so she doesn't really care much about me. But the other one,
She will. She will. Give her a few years.
she actually is. She's actually not happy that I am not in Zimbabwe right now.
Oh.
Just like a teenager. She's like, "When are you going back?" So I can get my freedom. But I do have a 6-year-old who's going into grade 1, and I just looked into enrolling him. So the first time, all these years, we didn't have to do anything. I mean, he was in kindergarten. You don't really do much in kindergarten, but now he's probably going to be doing online schooling.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, our son just started first grade, and let me tell you, the homework he's now doing, I'm like, oh, it was so easy before. Now there's homework every single night. And I'm like,
Yeah,
the homework he did yesterday, I'm like, I honestly don't know.
they get
Like,
homework.
yeah, and it's like tough. And like, oh my gosh, I think it was how many diamonds go into like a rhombus or a hexagon or something. And I'm like, bud, we need to ask someone else for help. I can't do your first grade homework.
Wow, wow, wow. Well, we're doing homeschooling. We're doing
Good
homeschooling.
for you. Good for you. Oh my goodness. What's the best book you've read?
There's been so many of them. The first one was Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's
Yeah,
that was
Robert
amazing.
Kiyosaki.
Yeah, Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
And you know why that book was great for me? Because it changed my mindset. Like I was so stuck in the go to work employee mindset. And
Yep.
I didn't see a way out. And I used to have all these excuses that I cannot start a business because I'm black, because I'm a woman, because I had so many excuses. And just that book just made me realize that I could do it. Like it was possible. It was possible. And later on, something came out about that book. We say that it wasn't a true story. I said, I don't care. Even if it wasn't a true story, it changed my life.
I'm
That was
pretty
the
sure
best.
it is. I've
It is, yes, it
yeah,
is. But people always have
yeah.
have something to say. But it's changed my life. That book was just amazing. So Rich Dad Poor Dad was the first book I ever read. And recently, because I've been dealing with with employee work stuff,
Yeah.
I just read Traction, and I liked that book.
Traction.
Yeah, Traction.
I
It's a very
have it. I
good
haven't
one.
read it yet. I have a
Oh,
whole
you should
bookshelf.
read
I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna get to it. I'll add it to my list.
it. Yeah. So Traction is a good one.
What does it mean to you to make an impact?
Oh, making an impact is changing people's lives. Like there's this acronym I like to use: significantly impact many people's lives every day. Simple. Basically, trying to change somebody's lives for the better, trying to make an impact in somebody's life, whichever way it is, just changing the world one person at a time. Because sometimes we get caught up to say, I cannot change the world because there's 7 billion people, but you can change one person who's going to go change the world. And what do I mean by that? I made an example earlier on about a girl who I trained, and this girl was sexually abused. I don't think I told you this, but she was sexually abused when she was young. And because of the training she took, the virtual assistant training she took, she told herself that she was going to go and start helping other girls who've been sexually abused and stop that abuse. So it's not me doing that. It's just one person. The ripple effect.
Yes.
When you change somebody's life, the ripple effect of that is just amazing. So think of that. Think of how can I change one person's life, and maybe they can go and change another person's life.
Ooh, I love that. That's so powerful. And like you're doing that, and it's so exciting to see. So thank you for everything that you do. Where can we find out, like if someone's listening to this and they go, I want to hire one of your girls, where can they do that?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking that. So you can go to virtualstaffondemand.com, virtualstaffondemand.com, and you can there'll be a free webinar there which you can sign up for, and you can learn how to hire these girls. I give a free training, and I actually, during this training, I cover a lot of the stuff I spoke about, like the Loom I spoke about, and I show you how you can work effectively with a VA. Because a lot of people, their struggle is, should I even be hiring a VA? Like, do I even need a VA? Am I
Yes,
at
you
that
do.
stage?
Yes, you
Yeah.
do. Like you need one before you think you need one. You need one
Exactly.
yesterday.
So I give a training on how they can do that and
Yeah.
why they should get a VA, and I give a full training on that. So go to virtualstaffondemand.com and get that free training. And I mean, there's no obligation; it's free, and you can just get started with your next hire.
Thembi, you're amazing. You are so inspiring. I adore you and the work that you're doing. So keep it up. You're changing the world one person at a time, and we love you and we appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Rachel. I really appreciate you.